to UBC TV. Now, I should tell you that we are also live on all our 11 radio platforms. So for those who are listening in, thank you so much for being part of the show. I do understand we shall be benefiting a lot more from the senior officials from the Ministry of Lands. It is very important. We're going to be discussing about land access today. Now, on our X handle, we did put a poll question asking, do you believe that the current land registration and administration systems in Uganda fairly protect the ordinary citizens from land grabbing and unlawful evictions? Number one, we did put yes, fairly protect, so you had to vote on that. Number two, no, do not protect. And number three, unsure or need more information. Now, according to the votes, no, do not protect, it has 66%, and then 24% for yes, fairly protect, and then unsure or need more information coming in there with 10%. We are going to be basing on that to discuss about land. PS, let me start with you. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. As the Ministry of Lands, questions are very many out there. People need to understand what you're doing as the ministry. What have you achieved? When we talk about land, people think about evictions. Yes. We talk about the tenants, very many issues coming in there. But you will be clearing the air as we dive into the questions that people do have. But about our poll question, PS, you've seen people were voting no, do not protect. That is 66%, meaning that is now the highest percentage. Over to you.
Thank you very much, my host. I'm glad to be here to inform people about land. When we look at the percentages which have been reflected in the questions asked, it is very clear that people are not aware of what we do in Ministry of Lands to protect them, and what land systems exist, and why we are here to explain. One, the 1995 Constitution gave the people land. The government of Uganda holds land in trust of the people. And I want to inform people that 95% of the land in the country is owned by the citizens. What do I mean here? An ordinary citizen is a person who owns land either under lease land tenure system or customary land tenure system. Actually, customary land tenure system is about 60% of the country. And those who own land by freehold and those who own land under the Milo tenure system, where we have a landlord and the tenants. Now, under the various systems I have to explain, under customary, individuals, families, and communities can own land and register them under the customary system, which is equal to the freehold system. Say a freehold is when you buy your own land, and you buy from a seller and you get a land title which is called a freehold. The customary is also in the same category, so it is not it's not below the freehold. Under lease, you can own land from the government and they issue a lease on the government land, or you can own land from either customary or freehold for use, but they give you a specific period in which to own that land. That is lease. But you can also own land under lease system if you are a Ugandan citizen for 99 years because you are Ugandan. So if your lease is ending, government ensures that they inform you so that you can renew your lease for land use. Under freehold, you have land in perpetuity. So those are the four tenure systems we have in Uganda.
PS, before I go to the Secretary, let's digest more on this matter that we're talking about.
Yes.
Land acquisition.
Land acquisition.
What should someone put in mind? Because land is a very, very big thing. We are all benefiting from it.
Yes.
What should someone have in place, put in mind when they are purchasing land? Now that you're talking about lease, customary, Milo, and freehold system.
Yes. Thank you very much, my host. When you are buying, when you want to acquire land and you're a new person who does not qualify to fall into customary because customary is inherited, and you want to acquire land, what do? You go to a prospective seller and introduce the subject, and if this seller is genuine, he will tell you where his land is and give you a land title if he has a land title. If he has unregistered land, you still can acquire that land, but you have to visit locus and visit the area where he's telling you that he's telling you land from. Now, the people, our area land board, and those are the steps you go through. We have what we call an area land board. That area land board will verify, we will go to verify whether that land is actually that person's land. Now, if it is already in the system, you come for a search in our system. And you pay only 10,000. Ugandans, you pay 10,000 for a search.
Is this everywhere, PS?
Yes. We have 22 ministerial zone offices where you can go and search for your land. When you reach our offices, if you can read, or if you don't know how to read, you can get a person who has gone to school to read for you the steps through which you pay for research. And we pay for research in the bank. And luckily enough, at our ministerial zone offices, we have the Diamond Trust Bank attached. You pay only 10,000 and you request for research. And now we have even simplified it for those who want to acquire land and have intelligent phones. You get an account, and we have platforms which are called public portals where you can actually yourself search for the land where you are going to buy, so that we eliminate sometimes the personal interaction so that you are not cheated. So it is easy to acquire land. You have to visit locus and ascertain, and we give you a confirmation letter that that land exists.
Yes.
So don't just buy land from conversation. Go and visit the land if you want to ascertain. Search in the system if the land is registered. And the only fee you pay is 10,000, and you pay through the banking system to URA. URA collects that money for us. So the portals are interconnected, so you can buy land.
Thank you. Secretary, the president of Uganda has oftenly come out to ask leaders to look for land, to see what government, the different government projects, maybe industries or factories, a lot of things can be put on that land. The question is, can the government acquire or hold and manage land? Whose responsibility is it to handle such?
Thank you very much for that question, my host. First and foremost, like the PS mentioned, land in Uganda, in accordance with Article 237 of the Constitution, belongs to the people. But government can acquire land subject to the Constitution and the Land Act. I believe it should be Section 43. And this acquisition should be in public interest. And before this land is acquired, it should also conform to Article 26 of the Constitution, whereby the compensation must be fair, adequate, and prompt before land is acquired by government for public use. And then whose responsibility is it? The Uganda Land Commission is a constitutional body set up by under Article 238 of the Constitution to hold and manage land on behalf of the government. And this also includes land which is abroad, except that the Commission can delegate the management of such land to our missions abroad. So to answer your question, yes, government can acquire land, and the Uganda Land Commission is established to manage, hold and manage this land on behalf of government.
After understanding part of your roles, you did talk about holding and managing government land, securing titles, maintaining a government land inventory, managing the land fraud, the land fund, sorry, managing land abroad, resolving historical land injustices. Talking about securing titles, are we talking for only government, talking about for government only, or even an ordinary citizen like me, one Jethro?
If you're looking at the land injustices, the historical ones, these are what we consider colonial injustices. Case in point, or the easiest to understand, is the Bunyoro land question in Chivale, where I believe even from geography and SST earlier on, mentioned that due to the rebellion by Omukama Kabalega, Bunyoro was punished by giving 2 of its counties to Buganda. That was Buyaga and Bugangaizi.
Yes, yes, yes.
So the Land Commission has a mandate under Section 42 of the Land Act to resolve these historical injustices by acquiring land from what we call absentee landlords. For example, those titles of Buyaga and Bugangaizi, which would belong to the Bunyoro, are held by mostly Baganda. So government has been acquiring this land from these landlords and redistributing it to the lawful and bona fide occupants across the country. It's not just in Bunyoro, but we also have cases in Ankole, Toro, Buganda, and Mbale or Bugisu. So government has been using the land fund to acquire such land, and so far, cumulatively, over the years, we've acquired about 580 square miles of land, with the biggest portion falling in Bunyoro, that is about 60%, 360 square miles. This is closely followed by Buganda with 106 square miles, and then Toro, 70 square miles, Ankole, 40 square miles, and Bugisu, so far we've acquired 4 square miles.
PS, yes? You must be having a very, very heavy task, yes, to ensure that Ugandans are satisfied.
Yes.
You may not satisfy all,
yes,
but you have an obligation of ensuring that as a Wananchi, if I have to get land, I must be a happy citizen. How are you ensuring this? Because I do understand part of your core values, you have land registration and title insurance, land transaction processing, you do have surveying and mapping, valuation, land administration, physical planning, and very many other aspects. Kindly explain to a Ugandan, how do you get to this? How do you do this? Ugandans have a lot of questions. They are skeptical when it comes to part of these things that you're doing as a ministry.
Okay. When it comes to securing land or protecting land for the citizens, we have a number of services we offer. We do land registration or title issuance, that is processing the title right from the area land board, district land board, to the ministerial zone offices. But through these processes, we always visit locus to ensure that we don't issue a wrong land title. We carry out registration and transfers of land. As you said earlier, there are people who want to buy land, and there are those ones who have a lot of land. Now, what we do if there is a transaction, we look at the person with the title of the person who has the land to sell you, and we transfer the land to you, and we map the boundaries of the land he has given you, so that you enjoy what you have put in, what your money has put in. So we ensure that the land titles are transferred in case of selling. If it comes to borrowing money from the banks, we make sure we link up, and now we have a portal. We have actually digitized our system. We have a digital system where when you go to ask for a mortgage using your land which is registered, they send us a message through a portal to verify whether this land belongs to you. And when we inform them, then we issue a letter. But very, very soon, we are going to interlink with the banks without even the person coming to us. Once a client enters a mortgage request through a portal, we are going to ensure we transact land for him. We also provide survey services.
Honorable, on that very point, you talked about digitalizing the entire system. You've talked about you're coming to explain about the survey services. But don't we have people who are masquerading?
Yeah.
Because people are crying, people are paying a lot of money to own a land, PS.
That's the reason we are here. The reason we are here is that they are masqueraders, and we are human beings, we cannot avoid that. But what we have done is that we have a client charter at all our ministerial zone offices. In fact, we are translating our client charter into various languages so that people understand the services we offer and where they should go. So when I talk about digitizing, we are not only digitizing such that you go and ask for a mortgage, but we also digitize the information, your information on the system. If somebody goes to your land, which you have already registered, and tries to transact on it, we have an information system where if you have a phone like the one you have, an intelligent phone, an SMS will come and ask you whether you authorized any transaction on your land. That is to protect people's land. So we have put in a lot of effort in the protection of land for people, and we can even do a real-time search for you, a real-time, so that you know what is happening on your land. In fact, the people who are fleeced most are the people who are in the diaspora. Because for them, they rely on their relatives. So if they knew, now they are beginning to understand what we do, and now they are coming to us direct. And we have focal point officers on this, giving them information about land. Let's go back to survey and mapping. You know, survey and mapping, survey was privatized. But we have surveyors in the office, and when the survey is done, they are the ones who ensure it is the correct survey. So you cannot get a survey approved without us verifying it. So the surveyors who are quack are always found out from that verification which we do. And for valuation of your land, we have what we call a valuation information system which we have put in place. Now we have rolled it out in 6 MZOs of Kampala, Mukono, Wakiso, and a few others, to make sure that people know at least the values of their land before a valuer tells you that your land is this much, or your land, or before they undervalue your land. So we have that. In physical planning, Uganda is one planning country, physical planning country. Now we are trying to put in place the land use in Uganda. As I talk now, our population is about 47, 48 million, and we are not going to reduce. But we need to live on our land and be fed from our land. Like you heard the anthem saying that the land feeds us. So we have to make sure we physically plan this country properly so that we can get the benefit of having food. Then we also help people when, you know, land is not only stolen from people by land grabbers, but also there are conflicts within families. We go and help them solve their conflicts. We call them and enter them into alternative dispute resolution before they go to the court. If we are defeated, then we refer them to the court. And we have what we call land awareness weeks. We go to different MZOs, we call the district people and the communities, and we make them, we sensitize them on their obligations on land and how they relate, so that we don't have a lot of conflicts which arise out of nothing. As I'm talking, we have really done a lot in that area, but we are going to increase the awareness, because sometimes people think that the land tenures have different weights, but the land tenures are the same. So we have done a lot in that area.
PS, allow me to go for a very, very short commercial break.
Thank you.
So that when we do return,
yes,
you continue to explain some of these services that you're providing for citizens and how best can they acquire them, because you're talking probably at ministerial level, but down to the wananchi. Yes. Some of these offices have issues. The front bench continues. Don't go away.
Thank you.
This is the front bench. Fellow countrymen and women, these are our ministers and permanent secretaries at the front bench, representing the various ministries and answering the questions that matter to us. Join the conversation. This is the front bench.
Welcome, traveler, to the adventure of a lifetime. Rare, beautiful, and precious. Embrace the unique, unforgettable, and extraordinary. Come and explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
With Momo, you have the power to pay your bills fast and conveniently using your phone. Dial *165*4# or scan to download Momo app and pay for water, electricity, TV, school fees, and much more. It's simple and saves you a lot of time. Just pull out your phone and pay. That's Momo. That's the power to be more.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
I don't settle for the surface. I go deeper. At UBC News Tonight, we unpack the story behind the story. We don't chase for views. We pursue facts. The election, the economy, the promises made, and those kept. We ask, we check, we verify. Because the truth should never be a mystery.
Fellow countrymen and women, these are our ministers and permanent secretaries at the front bench, representing the various ministries and answering the questions that matter to us. Join the conversation. This is the front bench.
This is the front bench for those who are listening in from our different radio platforms. Thank you so much. For those who are watching us live on TV, YouTube, and also our X handle, thank you so much. PS, you were still talking about some of the services that you do offer to Ugandans. Where do people get the mandate? Talking about those who are evicting people, because land eviction is something that is paining very many Ugandans. We've seen you, the PS, we've seen other ministry officials, the minister, the state minister as well. They have all been going to different places, the different parts of the country to ensure they teach people. We do have the big fish. We have those who are hiding in that caliber and they're evicting people off their land. PS, is there something that Ugandans are missing when it comes to land ownership? You did talk about it, but to throw more light on it. How do we tackle these people to stop, but also ensuring that Ugandans understand where they settle?
Thank you very much, my host. Evictions are usually conducted in 2 forms. They are what we call legal evictions. If somebody goes and settles on your land now, and and doesn't have any rights on it. Those people who they call bachesenza, you know bachesenza.
Yes, yes, yes.
Those ones can be evicted, and they can be evicted by the landowner. But land which is settled on by people who are called bona fide occupants, those ones who occupied land before 1992, people who occupy that land are not supposed to be evicted.
What is the criteria, maybe, the procedure of land eviction? I think that is also something that Ugandans should know, if there is a procedure anyway.
No, what happens really when people are being evicted on land, you get a landlord or a landowner who has people settled on his land. Then that person does not distinguish between a bona fide occupant and an illegal occupant. What usually happens is that once somebody buys land, he is supposed to recognize the bona fide occupants on the land. But what happens is that some people go and evict without distinguishing between the two. And it is really painful because people who occupied that land before 1992 have a lot they have put in the land. Maybe even their ancestral homes are there. Yep. Although they are tenants, they belonged there, they were born there, so you are supposed to consider all those. But what happens is that once a landlord sells land, the new occupant, instead of recognizing those rights of those people, he just evicts. So those are very painful. And evictions can only be done when the area land board, the district land board, the RDCs, all the government systems are aware how you bought the land, whether the land is yours, whether somebody is irregular, and we should go through systems of understanding how these people came to occupy that land. But evictions are very painful, as you've said, and it shouldn't be done. And if you are going to do an eviction, you are supposed to go to the different government offices and show your papers so that we know whether you are really the rightful owner or you have just bought land and you don't want to take on responsibility.
All right, Secretary, as Uganda Lands Commission, do you really interact with citizens when you're conducting your surveys, your research, and whatever there is before you come up with whatever you come up for Ugandans to consume?
Definitely we interact with citizens, Ugandans. If you look at our mandate, holding and managing government land, part of managing government land is leasing it out to individuals, companies, or even local authorities for development. And then when you look at the one of resolving historical injustices, definitely we have to interact with the absentee landlords who offer their land to the commission for compensation. And once we've compensated them, we also now have to interact with the beneficiaries or the bona fide and lawful occupants for whom that land has been acquired, to be able to regularize their occupancy and redistribute such land to them. And also we have several disputes, land disputes, so definitely the commission in one way or another has to interact with the citizens where we have cases, because most of our cases come from maybe double allocation of land between maybe the district land board and the land commission, which is a historical issue because our land systems have been evolving over the years and there was no clear inventory. For example, when the district land boards were created, say that this land is only for the land boards and this is for government, because previously the entire country was managed by the land commission. So when that came in, so you find some overlaps. So we also interact with citizens in trying to resolve these overlaps.
What have you done for the people for the last 5 years as Uganda Lands Commission?
In the last 5 years as the Uganda Land Commission, I would say we've compensated absentee landlords. That is one of the things we've done. And like I'd mentioned earlier, we've acquired over 580 square miles of land from absentee landlords, over 1,000 absentee landlords.
Absentee landlords meaning? Let's try to break down for the wananchi who is not understanding this language.
From what Madam PS was talking about the evictions, the lawful and bona fide occupants, usually they are landlords. And in our case, like I'd hinted on the Bunyoro question, where the two counties, Buyaga and Bugangaizi, were given to Uganda. So all those counties, the landlords were of Uganda, but the land was for Bunyoro.
Let's break it down this way, for me to understand as well, and the wananchi. If I, Jethro, if I have this particular land, now where we are here in the studios, if I am the owner who purchased it, I do have the land titles, everything is really valid. That means I am the landlord, right?
True.
So at what point is that when you want to do some work with my land, that is, if I'm not using it, am I the landlord now? Are you getting my point?
Yes. Maybe to clarify, you're the landlord for the land that you've acquired. But historically...
So that means the land is in my names, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
But historically, for example, the case I was mentioning, you find that you have the title, it is in your names, but you're not on the ground. We have the lawful and bona fide occupants on the ground. They have the occupation on the land, but they don't have the title.
Yes.
Maybe I can
yes,
help
yes.
Mr. Nyomba. Absentee landlords are a historical fact. When the colonialists were coming into Uganda, they colonized us through Uganda. And you remember the 40 chiefs you used to study. So most of those chiefs were given big chunks of land, including the land in Bunyoro and Buganga. That's how it was acquired. Now, the owners of those titles, they gave them even the titles. That's why we call them Mailo. Nina Mailana, Nina Mailo Nkaga. Now, they found people already seated on the what? On the land. But they acquired and bought them into the land. But those people have the bigger titles, which Uganda Land Commission purchases, and then we give the people who are seated on the land. Okay. That's why I'm saying the landlords who evict people who have settled since they were born, since that time, are actually evicting people from their own land, but because of the big title, they are being evicted.
P.S. We have cases here in Uganda. A young man like me, I will go and purchase land very far, anywhere. Say in Masaka or Luwero. Because of the economy system, a few difficulties here and there, I take time to go and develop it. Yes, but I do have the land, I do have everything. By the time I go back, you realize there are people who are occupying that land.
Okay.
Are they squatters? Because I do have to evict them. But remember, those people within the village maybe do not know me.
Okay, that's why. You remember when I told you when you buy land, you have to visit locus? When you visit locus, your neighbors will know you. They will know it is your land. But if you buy land from Kampala and you don't visit that place, they will not know you. And even when the squatters come in, they will not know who the owner is. So the best thing for you to do when you purchase land, visit where you purchased land, visit locals, and be recognized and be entered in the system. That's why the ministry decentralized to 22 ministerial zone offices. Now for you, if you are going to buy land in Masaka, it is the Masaka ministerial zone office which will issue you the land title, not Kampala. So you will have to visit Masaka. And what we will do in Masaka, you will go with the registrar, the senior land officer, the surveyor, and visit the land. And introduce yourselves. And the Department of Land Administration is supposed to do what we call reconnaissance. And when they do that reconnaissance, they are introducing you to your land. Even if you don't do anything on your land, if those squatters come, they will warn them, and they will. That is what is happening now in Apoto. That is your land. When somebody goes there, you will be notified that somebody is constructing something on your land.
Mr. Nyumba, you were still explaining what you've done for Ugandans in the last 5 years. You talked about compensating absentee landlords.
That is one of the things that we've done.
Okay.
And then, of course, we've issued out titles to the beneficiaries. We've issued over 25,000 titles.
But I thought that's an entitlement if I've paid for my land.
This is the land that we've got from the absentee landlords, which we have acquired, which has occupants. So we are regularizing or securing the tenure for those on that land. And we do that by redistributing. For example, we got the title from you, but now we have to redistribute that title to all the occupants on that land in accordance with how they are holding the land. If someone is occupying 2 acres, you give them a title of 2 acres. If someone has 5 acres, you give them that title. So for that, we've issued over 25,000 titles. And in this current year, we are processing 16,700 titles. 8,000 of those are in Kasese, a place called Karusandara.
Okay.
So we are working around the clock to have them get their titles. And even as I speak now, we have 2,000 titles ready in Rwampara, that is in Western Uganda. And even before the end of this year, we should be able to issue out those titles to those beneficiaries. And another thing we've done, as part of managing government land, we issue leases, like I'd mentioned. So in every financial year, we handle about 800 transactions of leases. That is from lease applications, lease renewals, lease extensions, consents to transfer, consents to mortgage, consents to subdivide, consents to sublease. So, and out of these transactions, we generate revenue for the government. And in the last 5 years, we've generated about close to 50 billion in lease premiums and ground rents. And that contributes to the treasury. So that's about some of the things that we've done.
Okay.
And then maybe before I forget, we're also digitalizing our processes. Actually, we've developed a system which will go live within this financial year. We're just awaiting integration with URA to enable our lessees make payments easier and faster through various platforms, for example, mobile money.
Okay. PS, are you adding something? Or I want us to talk about Busuulu, but if you have something
what he has said.
Yes.
Yeah, he has said it all about Uganda Land Commission. But what I want to tell you is that all these land transactions you see, when you register, there is a fee, a small fee. But as he said, they have, in the last 5 years, they have generated 50 billion. But for the ministry, as a ministry, we have this last financial year, we generated over 800 billion shillings for the country. And they are not big fees, but they generate income for the country. And as we digitize, you will not be required to come and pay to us. We don't even receive cash. You pay through the bank and the money goes straight to URA. We don't touch it, it goes to the government coffers.
Let's talk about Busuulu,
Busuulu, yes.
In June 2024, if you remember, during the national celebrations, the issue of Busuulu was raised.
Yes.
By Bibanja holders. That was in Impenja, Gomba,
yes.
If you do remember.
Yes.
This issue of Busuulu, it is confusing very many Ugandans.
Okay. Busuulu is the nominal fee which tenants who are sitting on Milo land with landlords pay. In case you are sitting on land which is, say, and it is by law, it is given by law, you pay a nominal fee. And in case you are sitting on land, say, in a city, you pay 50,000 Uganda shillings a year. If you are, and that money you pay, they issue you a receipt. And if you are sitting in a municipality, you pay 40,000 Uganda shillings a year. In a town council, you pay 30,000 shillings a year. And in a town board, you pay 20,000. And in the rural area where most tenants are, you only pay 5,000 shillings a year. Now that nominal fee has been a challenge to go to the sitting tenants because, as he said, there are some landlords who don't want to collect that money because they think it is too low. Now what government did is to make a law which legalizes paying of Busuulu through government. Now what we've done, we have an account in Bank of Uganda where we collect Busuulu now. And now in the case of Mpenja in Gomba, we have a clip. I wanted to play the clip, but maybe the time may not allow. People are really very happy about the Busuulu payment because right now we have protected tenants and they have at least a document to pay that they're up to date. People who were being evicted, some of the evictions were being carried out because the landlords were saying they were not paying the Busuulu. But the landlords were disappearing from the tenants when they want to pay. So we have really simplified the method of paying of Busuulu, and we have created the URA portal. You just go there. There are steps which we are going now to sensitize people who are in a landlord Busuulu payment area to follow. And you pay using your mobile phone, mobile money, and the money will go and you will get the receipt. So Busuulu has been demystified, so to say. The landlord cannot tell us they haven't paid the Busuulu. And if a person is evicted from the land where he's a tenant and he has been regularly paying Busuulu, because that was one of the reasons, we have now the evidence to show that the Busuulu has been paid.
P.S., let me ask this for the wananchi. What is that one thing that an ordinary citizen, an ordinary Ugandan should go for? Talking about land acquisition, we talk about the freehold, the lease, the customary, and very many. You did talk about those types. Just like we have different education systems where we have the government schools, but we have also the private. So those who have the capacity take their children in private. Others abroad, which is okay if you have the means. And for those who are in that condition of really not being well off, the government is doing this for Ugandans. When it comes to land, what advice can you give to a Ugandan to ensure they avoid all those things they do not understand? We have people who need to go to school, but they want to acquire land. People who are revising these notes for us. Somehow, somewhere, you end up signing on fake documents you do not understand.
Now, you are talking of the four systems of land tenure system, which we have, and you are talking of how can an ordinary Ugandan know about the particular land